Okay, we're live one more time. Let me share my screen and hopefully we won't have a problem this time. Sorry about the delay, folks.
Justin? Yeah. Can we join the meeting now on the computer?
Is that you, Howard?
Yes, it's me.
Yeah, you should be able to join. You should be able to join the meeting now.
Okay, Tom's in and heard.
Okay, I think we're ready to go.
Okay, we need the preamble, right?
Correct. Very
No,
good.
you need appellants first.
Wait 1 second. My appellants, I'm still resending them the link. Some of them are still trying to get back in. So give them a few more minutes, please.
Okay, I've got the preamble up, so. Howard, is somebody doing something?
Yes, I was cutting my
Okay.
phone off.
Okay.
No, it's not up there.
It was up for a minute. Here it comes. Oops,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it's
there it
Maurice.
is.
Hey,
There
no,
it
you're
is.
there.
There it is.
I see, Mr. Brad.
I see now.
There you are. Carmela's gonna let us know when to start, I presume.
Is that Tom? Yes.
Howard, can you put your mic on mute? There's a lot of background noise.
Did you hear that, Howard?
Yeah, well, I don't have any noise here. Nothing's on.
Yes. You're giving background noise to Robert.
No,
Maybe it was me. I muted myself.
Okay.
I think it's Howard.
It's Howard, yeah.
No, I'm not doing anything. I just got.
But Howard, having an open mic is pulling some sound somewhere. You may not be doing anything, but your mic is.
I went ahead and muted you, Mr. Bradley, until we restart.
The
I was
problem.
go ahead and start about 9:50. I emailed the other appellant and also just try to give them a call. They said they would be here this morning. They got the link. So if they reach out to me later on before the meeting ends, I can try to put them back in or just schedule them from 2 weeks from today. That's for docket A 376-19.
Was that a question or an answer, Carmela? You want to reschedule them?
I called and I resent them the link. I don't know if they still may be having technical difficulties getting in.
Carmela, this is Patty. Were you in discussions with all of the appellants set for today? And due to the technical difficulties, some of them haven't been able to get back. Is that what happened?
I wouldn't say all of them. The ones who said that they were going to be here this morning, I see the one appellant has successfully logged in. The other one, I still have not gotten any information back from them.
But they had indicated to you they would be here. I agree if that's happened and it's somebody you had engaged with, I agree with you going ahead and resetting it like you said. That would be appropriate.
Does that saying we can start?
Yes, you go ahead and start with the
Okay.
preamble, please.
Cleveland Board of Building Standards and Building Appeals. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law under COVID-19 emergency declaration, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the meetings, according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raised hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you, and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Board of Building Standards hearing is now in session. First docket, A 36819, 34.
Mr. Chairman, preliminarily apologize. Patricia McGinty, Aspen City, Cleveland Law Department. As I do
Yes.
each hearing, the city is going to object to the use of the chat function. And as I have done each WebEx hearing, I'd like to have in the record demonstrated for posterity, independent verification that this is being live streamed on YouTube. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maurice Rowland, City Planning. Yes, it's being live streamed on YouTube.
Chairman,
You need to call the roll, please.
okay.
Yo,
Call the roll.
Maskey,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes,
Microphone. His microphone's off.
he muted me.
Yes.
We heard him.
Pink,
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Is the appellant?
We have a quorum.
Is the appellant available?
For the first docket, A368-19,
Yeah, A36819, yes.
application fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued November 11, 2019. Appeal statement received December 11, 2019. Requesting for 12 months to abate violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. The appellant has been properly notified and has not responded.
Patty, do you want to make an inquiry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, why don't you go ahead and swear in Mr. Vanover, and then I will do my deal.
Solemnly swear, thank you. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you are about to make are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Preliminarily, Patricia McGinty, Aston City of Cleveland Law Department. Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis. Ms. Davis, has today's notice of the WebEx hearing been returned to you for this appellant for whatever reason?
No.
And Ms. Davis, is this one of the appellants who has contacted you and had technical difficulties this morning?
No.
Okay, the only quirk regarding this, Mr. Chairman, is I would normally say you have the ability to go forward, but if you will look on the appeal statement, this is one of those where Mr. Germaniak made an appearance and the city raised an objection and conflict regarding as director of the CDC coming in on behalf of the appellant. And in previous matters, as you recall, way back when we met personally, the city raised conflict and legal bases citing to case law stating that a corporation cannot lawfully engage in the practice of law, nor can it do so indirectly through the employment of qualified lawyers. And that was citing to a 1937 Ohio Supreme Court case number 133, Ohio State 81. So normally I would say you have the ability to go forward under due process, but because this was, I believe Mr. Owens was notified that Mr. Germaniak could not appear for him. And I would have Ms. Davis testify as to what happened with that way back, because this was originally set March 18th, when way back at the beginning of the year when the city raised these objections. And if Ms. Davis was able to contact Mr. Owens and he had indicated to her that he was going to appear on his own behalf and then still did not do so after properly being notified by this board then could go forward. But because of that little quirk, the record needs to be clear as to what precipitated him not being here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Vanover, do you have any, I'm going to dodge that question for a minute. Do you have information or pictures on the?
You can't, Mr. Chairman. You can't hear the docket until you either preliminarily determine that you can proceed today, or you reset it and notify Mr. Owens. You cannot hear from Mr. Vanover. That's a due process problem.
So we do nothing on this docket at this time. That we can't.
You can reset it. You can reset it and have Ms. Davis resend it to Mr. Owens. We can then go forward. If he doesn't appear at that point, he's been properly notified. He was originally scheduled when COVID hit and the first hearings got canceled. So in fairness to Mr. Owens, he has the right to be heard. I do think there was a disability or some sort of issue with him, which was why he had somebody else. So in fairness to Mr. Owens, you have to give him one more shot.
Thank you. Ms. Davis, can we add that to we've already distributed the agenda for the next meeting on the 19th. Can we add that to the that docket? Or let's see let's request that we do that.
Well, unfortunately, I have to, per the policy, give them at least 10 days. I would probably have to reschedule them for the first docket in September.
Okay,
I would do it that way. And I probably would have to reach out to the CDC since he was the one who completed the application and all mileage was going to him to see if Mr. Orange in fact stay at the.
okay, reschedule it for the earliest possible next date after you've cleared up what's going on.
Okay.
Next docket. A 37219, 979 East 79th Street.
Application fees are in order. It's a combination of the main structure. Issued October 21st, 2019. Appeal statement received December 13th, 2019, requesting for time. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. The appellant was properly notified and is not present.
Let's proceed with the docket. It's a condemnation and was cited in October 21st, 2019. So let's hear. Was Mr. Vanover solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Do we have
Preliminarily,
any?
Mr. Chairman, this is Patricia McGinty, acting against City of Cleveland Law Department. Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was notice of today's hearing returned to this board's file for any reason for this docket?
No.
And Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, was this one of the dockets that you had previously engaged with the appellant and had some, with this morning's technical difficulties, having to resend the link to and said they would be here?
No.
So, Mr. Chairman, the board has sent proper notice and the appellant has not appeared. You do have the ability to go forward under due process without the appellant. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Vanover, can you give us information on the condition of this structure?
So, Mr. Chairman, we do have photographs of this property. Based on our status, there's been no change. It is a condemnation, and it's, we're looking at what, 8 months now, 9 months now. So, Maurice, do we have photos of this?
I don't seem to have any photographs in the this one.
Do you have any details, Mr. Vanover, of the reason for the condemnation for the record?
I do. I mean, it's basic deterioration. Bear with me and let me.
Okay.
Pull up. I mean, it's an abandoned structure. It's been abandoned for some time, and I thought I had sent those in. I apologize.
You give us 1 second. Me and Maurice are working out some technical. We do have the pictures for this property, so give us 1 second.
Granted.
Hold on a second. Yeah, the second PowerPoint that I have does not have, this is from the second, this is the second PowerPoint, but there's no pictures. Let me see if I can re-download the file.
Yeah, I lost sound.
We have Mr. Gallagher with his hand raised.
Yeah, I'd let Tom proceed, and then if you do get them, Mr. Rulons, then go ahead and put them up. But I think if he can describe what the conditions are, we can make a determination from there.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the board. This property, as I said, has been abandoned for some time. We have board up records going back to 2015
Oh,
where the city has boarded it up. There's also, although not before this board, there's several complaints for board ups that we've conducted. There is, and then the general condition is we were unable to contact the owner through our due diligence process.
He can't see it that big.
And we ultimately received an administrative search warrant. There's several electrical problems, water in the basement. The panels have been stripped. The furnace is gone. Trash and debris and signs of failure in the foundation of the property. Ceiling's fallen. It's pretty gutted inside.
that's a good description. And Mr. Gallagher is right. We can make that determination that the condemnation was properly issued from that. A board up 2015 is plenty adequate proof. A motion is in order at this time to remand the property to the Division Building Housing for supervision and any required further action, noting that the appellant has not responded and the property has been boarded up since 2015. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gallagher. I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I did, Gallagher.
Motion by Mr. Gallagher,
Second by Maskey.
second by Mr. Maskey. Motion, call the roll, please.
Maskey,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Dink,
Yes,
Gallagher.
Yes.
thank you. Next docket A 37319, 12400 Auburndale Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is a condemnation of the main structure. I'm sorry. Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued November 21st, 2019. Appeal statement received December 14th, 2019, requesting for time. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. Appellant was properly notified and is not present.
Ms. Ashton, you want to
Yes,
inquire?
Mr. Chairman, if you can go ahead and swear in Mr. Vanover first, and then I'll do my.
Mr. Vanover, solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. And before that, Patty, Mr. Chairman, the report from my inspector was that the violation has been closed as compliant. They've abated the violations.
Okay, so then you can, Mr. Chairman, there's no harm if you go ahead and grant the time through today, like you would normally do, since it's been corrected. We don't have to.
So we ask that you uphold the violation notice as properly issued and grant them time through.
Okay. A motion in order to find that the violation was properly issued and the appellant is granted until September 1st, 2020 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So moved.
So moved.
Who, yeah, please.
Motion. Motion by Bradley, second by Gallagher.
Call the roll, please.
Maskey,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Dink,
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Next docket, A 37419, 630 East 127th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is lead, issued November 19th, 2019. Appeal statement received December 14th, 2019, requesting for time. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, law. Appellant was properly notified. What is going on with this system? Appellant was properly notified and is not present for the hearing.
Um,
Mr. Vanover, sound?
sorry, I apologize here for the hearing, Ms. Davis.
Cody Gentry has identified himself as being the appellant and present.
Mr. Chairman, preliminarily, if this is Cody Gentry that's identified, it's not the person who made the application, you can just clarify who this appellant is for the record and is proper for this docket. Thank you.
I'm with Gentili Property Management. We are just for this owner.
Okay, that's who Mr. Chairman, this is Patricia McGinty asking again, that's the attached property management agreement for this property. So if you can go ahead and swear in before you take testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. To help you God.
Yes.
Make your comments, please.
So we do have all the repairs completed. We are just waiting on an inspection. So we would just like to, I guess, request an extension by 30 or 90 days or however long it takes to be able to get this inspected.
Does anyone have an idea of how long this might take?
Mr. Chairman, this is Jennifer Getty to the appellant. This is a lead violation to the appellant. Did you get your clearance certification into the health department?
We did, yes. We do have the clearance certification from the property.
Okay, so then, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vanover can explain that process regarding that. You've heard it before with the lead process.
Okay. Mr. Vanover?
So, Mr. Chairman, the inspectors report that yes, we do have a lead clearance report that has been submitted. We're waiting for final approval from the health department. Our expectation is that should happen within the next, 5 to 10 days. So we would not object to more time while that's going through the process, with the expectation that the property will be cleared and the violations complied with.
Thank you. A motion is ordered to grant the appellant until October 1st, 2020. Complete statement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Maskey, second Mr. Getty. Call the roll, please.
Maskey,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Dink,
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Next docket. Thank you. Next docket, A 37619, 6312 Lansing Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is the condemnation of a garage. Issued December 6, 2019. Appeal statement received December 30th, 2019, requesting for time. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. And I see that the appellant is here. Mr. Kent, can you hear us?
Yeah, you're coming in broke up.
We don't see. Oh, there you are. Mr. Obrist. Kent Obrist. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're. Mr. Obrist, can you hear me?
I can, sorry. Yes, I hear you now.
Solemnly.
I solemnly swear that
Solemnly
everything.
swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, whole truth.
Yes, I do.
All right.
I do.
May we hear, Mr. Obrist, may we hear your story?
Yeah, I want to repair the garage. told me not. So I had it shored up and stabilized, and then pictures so I could replace all the bad lumber. The building is solid. It's just that the dormer, the header over the garage broke, and the dormer came down about 8 to 10 inches. Ended up rotting that I didn't know about because I couldn't see it with the garage door open. But I've already checked out prices to have it repaired and all replaced with the I-beams, the laminated I-beams. So this way it'll be all stable. And I just need
Okay. Mr. Vanover, has any
I was
procedure
going to
been?
repair it earlier, but told me that I can't repair it while it's.
It looks like you might need a permit for it. Mr. Vanover, do you have any comments on this?
Yes, I do. Mr. Chairman, can the appellate hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Now
so is this a commercial structure or residential structure?
it's commercial property, but the garage isn't. It's basically residential and storage for all my junk.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
So what is the primary use of the property?
The primary, basically just living in there. And that's it. But with the garage, I just if I tear it down, then I'm not going to rebuild it, and then I'll just have to lower the taxes. And I never miss on the taxes. And if I would have known it was breaking, I would have repaired it long ago. I didn't know because I couldn't see it.
So this looks like a storage garage with an addition, and is that a dwelling unit on top of it?
No, it's a pigeon coop from the 50s. That's all it is.
All right. So Mr. Chairman, you will need, because of its commercial nature, you will need plans and you will need drawings for this. You will need permits for all of it.
Even from 1950s, I thought I could just repair what's bad. I didn't know I had to have permits for just replacing the lumber, and I'm not changing the structure in any way.
Well, yeah, but you're still, because of the collapse, you are. I mean, especially if you're going from timber framing to laminated beams, you will definitely need a permit. You will definitely need drawings, and you will definitely need an inspection.
Then what if I just go with the lumber beams? Then I just thought it
all still applies. It all still applies because you're going to need a permit. You're going to need to have give some indication of what you're replacing and what, because it looks like there's some pretty substantial structural displacement, right? So it's not like you're taking out a beam, putting a beam in. You're going to need to jack this up. You're going to need to change, add connections.
I'm taking that whole dormer out.
Right. So now you're actually modifying the structure. So you're going to need plans and permits.
What I'm doing is I'm taking the dormer out. Just the way it is.
So
I'm not changing. I'm just dismantle. Place the bed lumber and new lumber and put it back in the exact same way it was when the house was bought in 1959. That I didn't need a permit to replace lumber that was bad.
Mr.
So-
Chairman, this is Tricia McGinty Aston. If I could, the appellant, Mr. Olbers, might be disagreeing with the law in the state of Ohio and the city of Cleveland, and with our chief building official, Mr. Vanover, but the law remains the same. Even if it wasn't condemned, what he's describing is clearly something that the codes require plans. So whatever happened in the 1950s, it's now 2020. And regardless of pandemic and whatnot, the law requires what Mr. Vanover had indicated. More importantly, it is condemned, and the photographs clearly show it's condemned. So the appellant can object all he wants, but condemnation under the city's code, as we have provided for, show that there's two ways to correct the condemnation, to bring it out of condemnation, which is obtain a permit through application to demolish it, or obtain a permit through application with proper rehabilitation and correct it and get a certificate of occupancy. So the appellant can choose whichever route he'd like, but whatever happened in the 50s, this is beyond replacing like for like. This is bringing it out of condemnation. Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, is this structure currently occupied?
No.
Pardon me?
Mr. Obrist?
Is someone living there?
He's not. Mr. Obrist, can you hear us? My comment was going to be that the structure looks hazardous.
Oh, I agree, Mr. Chairman. The city would like to know if someone's living in the non-garage portion of it. I think it's important. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Otherwise, I would defer to Mr. Vanover. But the law is the law.
Okay.
Debating what happened in the 50s doesn't change the requirements today.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Mr. Obrist, okay, you're back again. Mr. Vanover, if we remanded to you with no time, you're going to require plans pretty quickly. Do you want, what time limit is appropriate for you looking at the property, or your inspector looking at the property? If we give him until September 15th, is that reasonable? It's still hazardous.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think it's reasonable. I think that he can get the plans done, the permits done. I mean, and then I would want it, I would ask that you remand it to us. I fear that this will not last another winter.
No, right, right.
If it's remanded to the Department of Building and Housing, we can still work with the appellate to get the plans and to get the permits to rebuild. And the Ohio Building Code will take over from there. So we ask that you find that the violation notice was properly issued, deny more time. There's been a great deal of time to get that work done already. I know the appellate had said that he was told don't do anything until the appeal. That was, I don't know who gave him that. That's bad advice, because all of the plans and the drawings could have been going on in the meantime. So,
Agreed.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Gallagher has his hand raised.
Yes. I think we should hear back from Mr. Obrist if he's still on. I don't think he really truly understood what was required. I think that, I think he got that out of this meeting so far, that he realizes now what he has to do. So I would like to hear what he has to say in response to that, and then we can go ahead and we know what our options are then. If it doesn't look like he's going to continue on, then fine, we can remand it back. But if he's okay with saying he'll go ahead and do something right away, then we can listen to that too.
But you want that to happen today, correct, Mr. Gallagher?
Well, I just think I'd like to hear from him if he's still on. Mr. Obrist?
Yes.
Okay. Now you know what's needed, but the city has told you. What's your response?
Well, that ain't what I was told when I went down there and applied for the appeal, because I asked the lady at the desk if I could fix it, and she says, well, it's condemned. You'll have to get an appeal to give you proper authority to fix the building. But I went and I made sure that the building would come down. I had it, like I said, that the pictures that I showed that I shored up everything.
Okay, so you understand the requirement, though. You understand the requirement, right?
Yeah, I guess if it's the law, it's the law. I just need time to repair it, and I'm on a fixed income, and I'm disabled, and I only got so much money, and it isn't like, well, hey, I'll just go to the bank and they'll give me $1 million and do it. I can't afford to tear it down, and I'm just barely affording to replace the problems. I'm like in limbo. I was led one way, and then I'm told, well, why don't you just go and fix it? And they told me that if I fix it, I'll have to tear it all down because it was condemned and I didn't get permission, and I filed them.
Okay. All right. So anyways, it does sound as if, from what you're saying, that it might be best if we remanded.
And I asked if I could.
I think it's best that we do remand it back and let the city keep an eye on it at that point.
And they're going to be, Mr. Oberst, they're going to be in touch with you right away because it is a dangerous condition.
I lost you. So what?
You have a comment? Mr. Oberst, can you hear me? Okay. A motion is ordered to find that the condemnation of the garage was properly issued. The property is remanded at this time to the Division of Building and Housing for supervision and any required further action, noting the hazardous condition and the deterioration of the property. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Maschke.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Maschke,
Yes.
Hartley,
Yes.
Fink,
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Oberst. Thank you all. Next item of business of comment. Mr. Oberst, you'll be properly notified.
What are?
Mr. Vanover,
Okay, I appreciate it.
Tell you that you have to contact the building and the.
Mr. Overs, can you hear me? Hello? Mr. Overs? Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Overs, can you hear me?
I can hear you right now.
Okay, so you will receive a notification in 2 weeks from the board. In the meantime, call your inspector and follow up on next steps.
Okay, and what are those?
Call the inspector and he will notify you of next steps.
Oh, okay. All
The
right,
inspector on your violation notice, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next docket. Thank you, Mr. Vanover. Permit extension of time docket A3320 2114 East 81st Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of.
Bye.
This is a request for a permit extension issued on October 13, 2015. Present for the hearing is Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. The appellant has been properly notified and has not responded.
Who's present? Is Mr. Vanover in charge of this?
Yes,
Okay. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, Patricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland to Ms. Davis. Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's WebEx hearing returned to the board file for any reason?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Ms. Davis, was this one of the appellants that had contacted you with some technical difficulties that we had earlier?
No.
So, Mr. Chairman, the appellant was properly notified. You can go ahead and proceed. I believe Mr. Vanover has an update from the inspector, but you do have the ability to proceed under due process. Thank you.
Okay, did I swear you in, Mr. Vanover?
I don't know.
Yes, you did.
I swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. So, Mr. Chairman, the inspector was having trouble getting in contact with the appellant. It appears that Inspector Forrester has since inspected. I would ask that you, I don't know that there's an extension needed. I was trying to look up some more information on this particular permit. It doesn't appear that we've closed it, but I haven't had, I would ask that you just remand it back to us, and if the work is continued, then the inspector will continue to inspect.
And we can remand it without any direction, just let you handle it totally.
Correct.
Motion is ordered to remand the property to Division of Building and Housing for any required further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gallagher, second by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Bashki? Bashki? Can you hear me? Bashki?
Yes.
Okay. He said yes.
Bradley?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Gallagher?
Yes.
I don't know what that is in the background. Is that me, Maurice?
No, I can't figure out who it is.
Okay.
It only happens occasionally. I'm not sure. I've tried clicking people, muting different people, but I can't figure it out.
Next item of business, approval of resolutions for the following resolutions. Docket A, 358-19, 359, 360, 361, 362, and A 363. All A19 dockets, A 363-19. Any additions or corrections as submitted?
No.
Motion for approval as submitted.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Gallagher, second.
Is Mr. Bradley.
Second by Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Bashki?
Yes.
Bradley?
Yes.
Dink?
Yes.
Gallagher?
Yes.
Next item, approval of minutes of July 22nd, 2020. Any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion for approval as submitted.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Gallagher.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Bashki?
Yes.
Bradley?
Yes.
Dink?
Yes.
Gallagher?
Yes.
Any further official business? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.